welcome to A Stitch in Time. Today is Thursday, it's February 20th, 2025, and this is episode 305. My name is Carol. I am known as Knits and Pearls on Ravelry, and I live east of Vancouver in the Fraser Valley of British Columbia, Canada. I'm a little breathless because I just ran up the stairs. I hope you're all doing well, that you've had a good week since we last spoke. I hope your week was better than mine. I have just come through what I would describe as one of the most stressful weeks of my entire life, but I'm still smiling, so that's a good sign, right? I think I'll just tell you all about it right off the top, get it off my chest, and then we can focus on what you really came here for, and that is all of the yarny goodness. So I want to thank so many of you who reached out with best wishes and crossed fingers and toes. When I last left you, we were on the verge of having subjects removed on the sale of our house, and then subsequently going to be removing subjects on the purchase of a condo. And the last episode, I mistakenly told you that the buyer's subjects were scheduled to come off the following day. And what I didn't realize, it was supposed to be last Wednesday. It's probably a good thing I didn't know, because I would have been a lot more stressed as the day went on and we hadn't heard anything. So yeah, late Wednesday afternoon, things started to go sideways. Our buyers had, among their subjects, they had an inspection and then also financing. And we weren't really focused on the financing because during the negotiations, we were aware of what amount that they had been approved for, and that factored into our asking price. And so we were more nervous about the home inspection. Our house is, I think, about 38 years old, 37, 38. And even though we've, kept it in good condition, we were worried about things that might be hidden that we weren't aware of. As it turned out, we should have been worried about the financing because they weren't able to be approved in time. And so we opted to give them a 24-hour extension, during which time they, sounds like they brought in a second mortgage broker because the first one obviously wasn't getting the job done. So we waited out Thursday anxiously, and again, we granted them another 24-hour extension. So we had to decide. Our home inspection was scheduled for last Friday, so we had to decide whether we were going to go through with it just in case they got their financing, because we wouldn't have another opportunity to schedule it before our subjects were due to be removed this past Monday. So we opted to go ahead with the home inspection, and while we were at the discussion afterwards with our agent and the home inspector, our agent heard from the mortgage broker, and he had a very positive attitude. He was quite confident that the financing would be approved by the following day. This would now be Saturday. And with that in mind, we granted them yet another extension because we were feeling a whole lot better that this was all going to come together in time. And so we waited all day Saturday, and first we had expected we might know by about 3 o'clock. And then we were told like 4:30, and finally we learned that the approval was not going to come through that day, although the there was still confidence that they would be approved. It just wasn't going to be in time. And they weren't, we weren't in a position to offer them another extension. Our subjects were due off Monday, and it was a holiday here on Monday, so the banks were closed. And so we had to let the deal fall through, which meant that we had to let our condo deal fall through. They had a backup offer with no subjects for more money, so it was a no-brainer for them not to offer us an extension. And so that's where we left things Saturday evening, and I was just heartbroken. We both were. We really liked this condo, especially after seeing it again on Friday and walking through and imagining things and taking measurements, all in anticipation of moving in and purchasing some new furniture and things like that. So it was really tough. And so we spoke to our agent the next day. And she said that she had received quite a lot of inquiries about our home, and that there were some people in the wings, and she proposed that we do I'm not sure all the actual terms, but basically put a bid up for our house, have offers come in until 4 o'clock on Wednesday, and then we would see them when we met with her at 5:30. So we felt like, even though we hadn't, at that point, didn't have another place on our radar, that we should strike while the iron's hot. If people are interested in buying our home, like, let's move on that. But there was a townhouse that caught our eye. It's in a complex that we had looked at another unit before, and it's always been in the back of my mind that if another unit, the right one, came up in that complex, maybe that's somewhere we would consider. Our needs are our wants and needs are pretty specific. We wanted either a condo with everything on one floor, or a townhouse where the primary bedroom and laundry, things like that, were all on the main floor, so that as we age, we can, grow with it and not have to worry so much about doing stairs. So this condo, or this townhouse, I should say, fit the bill, and so we went to see it on Monday. And I'll admit, the whole time we were looking through it, even though I'm thinking, yeah, this would work for us, I had this big lump in my throat because it wasn't the condo, and that's what I'd had my heart set on. But having said that, we knew that was not in the cards. And even though this townhouse needs some updating, especially the upstairs is firmly stuck back in the mid-90s when it was built. I don't think they've changed flooring or bathroom fixtures since then. It was all the things that were kind of wrong with it were all cosmetic, and things that we could work on and modernize and make it a more modern space for ourselves. But only if the price was right, because of course that's going to take some money. So we decided, after literally hours of discussion on Monday, to go ahead and make an offer. We received a counter offer the next day for the maximum price that we were prepared to pay, and that was the lowest price that the seller was willing to accept. And so we went for it. And then yesterday we did accept an offer without subjects on our home, actually from the original buyers. And we're able to take off the bump clause on our purchase of the townhouse. So now all we have to do is get our subjects off. That'll happen after we've done a home inspection and various other things. Our sale will not be 100% official until midnight Monday here in BC. Anyway, I don't know if it's a Canadian thing or a British Columbian thing, but after subjects are removed, there's a 3-day period, 3 business day period, where basically it's for buyer's remorse. The buyers have an opportunity to cancel the sale for a fee. So they do lose some money doing it, but it's there. So nothing's written in stone until midnight Monday, but considering all the hoops our buyers went through in order to get this place, obviously they really want it and they're committed to it. So our closing and moving dates remain the same. We'll be moving on March the 21st. Closing the 20th, exactly a month from today. So it still hasn't completely hit home. I still have a lot of anxiety. My stomach is just kind of a mess and big lump in my throat. It's just been a really, really difficult time. Especially like looking at a different property just literally, you know, hours after you've lost the one that you had your heart set on. I said, Cameron said, yeah, it's kind of like how you'd feel if you died and I married someone else the next day. You know, that change of allegiance, you know, it's a difficult thing. Having said that, when we were heading out to meet the realtor yesterday evening, I asked Cameron, so as of today, like if you had to choose, which one would you choose, the condo or the townhouse, if both were available to us? And he kind of threw the question back at me. And I said, you know, Sunday morning, hands down, I would have said the condo. But the townhouse, I think, in lots of ways is going to suit us better. It's more space, more. All the bedrooms are bigger. Yay for a bigger craft room. There's a little bonus space that we didn't have in the condo. There's an outdoor patio, private backyard, which is a lot bigger and better than a small balcony. And the crawl space is the size of the entire footprint of the townhouse. So even though it is a crawl space, you have to go down into it, and I think it's only about 4 feet high, we have, you know, more or less unlimited storage. Plus a garage, which we will then enter our home on, you know, ground level, unlike having to, you know, carry groceries up 3 flights of stairs or 4 flights of stairs or taking the elevator. So I've come around to it. And I think once we modernize it, I can really see us being happy there for quite a long time. Plus, not that this is so much on our radar, but the complex has a swimming pool, a sauna, a whirlpool, and a big clubhouse, plus a guest suite. So I'm sure at some points we will make use of those services. And we had known from walking through it the first time and then walking through it again on Monday, it is a very, very friendly, welcoming community. We met a number of people as we were being shown around, and everyone was really friendly and chatty and just said how much they loved living there. And so that has really good vibes too. So yeah, lots to adjust to in the space of a week. So sometimes I knit out of anxiety and transferred that energy into my knitting, but at other times I couldn't knit a thing. I was so stressed and I just couldn't settle. But one day, I think it was the last Thursday when we were waiting for the buyers to have their financing come through. We didn't realize there were going to be 3 days of worry. I think that might have been, it was either that day or the day after that I finished what I'm wearing. I knit my way through the second sleeve of my Burmese Basic 18 by Beth McDonald Stone. And then, yeah, I think it was that day. And then the next day I took the bind off of the bottom ribbing out, and I added an extra, I think it was something like 6 or 8 rows, something like that. So there were some advantages to being stressed, I guess. I am super happy with how this sweater turned out. I'll give you a better look in a second. I knit from 2 yarns held together. The Mineville Wool Project single ply merino DK in an unnamed color, and then some Fleece Artist Saldana, which is 100% merino lace weight in the cedar colorway. And I followed the pattern more or less as written. I did a few small changes. I knit the first size, but when I did the body, when I separated for the body and sleeves, I added a few extra stitches for the body so that I would end up with a size kind of in between 1 and 2. And I will say, while I was knitting it, if you've been watching for a while, you know I expressed a little bit of anxiety along the way whether this sweater was going to fit properly. But I'm happy to say it fits exactly how I want it to fit. I added some A-line shaping to the bottom, and I'm not sure, in the picture I can't tell, just the way it was modeled, I can't tell if the sleeves were supposed to be full length, but I did make them wrist length. But I changed the amount of ribbing. Both the bottom and the sleeves are supposed to have about, I think, 3.5 inches of ribbing. I only did 2.5. But I think part of it was because I kind of over knit and on the body and realized that I'd gone past the point where I should have been ribbing, and so I kind of just made it so that the sleeves and the bottom ribbing would be the same, even though it wasn't the full 3.5 inches. And then I think I explained last week that I had tried it on a few times and I was just a little unsure about the length, and so that's why I did add a few more rows to the ribbing. Now, after I blocked it, the sweater grew a fair bit, as superwash yarns tend to do, and it was a little bit bigger and a little bit longer than I wanted. But I also know that superwash wools, when you just throw them briefly in a dryer, and I usually add a couple towels to that, just dry. My sweater was completely dry. I just threw it in the dryer briefly on medium, and it snugged everything back up. And so right now it is the perfect size. So I love how it turned out. It is a circular yoke pattern. It's a very basic pattern, so you could add any sort of embellishment that you wanted to it. And as I have mentioned before, Beth McDonald Stone has designed the same sweater in numerous gauges. So this was the one for an 18 stitch over 4 inch or 10 centimeter gauge. So I will stand up briefly here. This color's coming across really well on the screen at the moment. So let's see, maybe I'll just move my chair out of the way a little bit. Just turn I'll just turn around so you can see the back. And then I did take a little bit of model footage. I am the world's worst model, by the way. I'll stick that in here so you can see it maybe a little more clearly. So I am really happy with how this sweater turned out, and it's really comfortable to wear. The merino is very soft. There's a teeny weeny bit of, just a little bit of a prickle right around my neck at the moment, but nothing, you know, overly aggravating. And it's certainly warm, because as I'm wearing it, I'm thinking, ooh, I might have to take this off in a little bit. But I think I can manage it for the length of the podcast. So that's it for finished projects, but I am really happy to have done this. I had started this sweater last March, so it took me almost 11 months to complete. Not that I worked on it all the time. So another project I've been kind of knitting when I can is a pair of socks for my husband Cameron for his birthday, which is at the end of this month. And last week I showed you I had finished one sock. This is knit, I think I have the label here, yep. This is knit from Crafty Jack's Boutique Tough and Tender sock, which is a 90% superwash targhee, 10% nylon. And this is the Rocky Shores colorway. Yes, the label was kind of, little color label was kind of curled up on itself, but yeah, Rocky Shores. So it's a 68 stitch top down sock on a 2mm needle, 2x2 rib, traditional heel flap and gusset rounded toe. I'm finding this, it's quite dense. The yarn has a lot of that's the wrong word, that makes it sound scratchy. It's not at all, but it's sturdy. It's it doesn't appear like super heavy when I'm working with it, but I feel when I'm knitting with it, it feels like I could have maybe gone up to a 2.25mm needle. On the other hand, the socks are nice and dense. They should wear well. And I have knit a pair of socks from this yarn for myself before, and once it's washed and blocked, it really softens up. So I think they will do him nicely. So I got that far, and I think last episode, I feel like maybe I had just cast on the second. I really don't remember. This whole week, seriously, the last few weeks, probably the last month, has really been quite the blur. But yeah, I've gotten lots done on here. So I have been knitting on these when Cameron's not home, quite often first thing in the morning, and then sometimes even at night if he's downstairs watching TV and I'm upstairs. So I am through the gusset decreases and just working on the foot. So his birthday's in a week, so I think I should be able to finish them by then. And as far as I know, he has no idea I'm working on them, so that's cool. They should be a complete surprise. So I am working on another pair of socks also, except I have to reach down to get them. I have been doing the heel toe do-si-do pattern by Kay Litton of Crazy Sock Lady Designs. I'm knitting them from this yarn from Fiber Nymph Dye Works. just a little label that's all wrapped up, so it's harder to see than usual. This is a Legacy colorway, and when I purchased it, I also purchased 2 mini skeins, one in the eggplant colorway and one in the, I think it's dark navy. But I opted to only use the eggplant colorway in the socks, and that's for a heel. So I'm knitting both socks concurrently. So on this sock, I have done the heel. This is a I have partridge heel. There's the gusset decreases, and then I've done another striping sequence since then. So this is the one I'm the furthest along on, but I have finished the gusset decreases on the other sock too, and I'm just starting to do that next striping sequence. So that's how the pattern looks from the front. And then the back is just plain stripes. So I am enjoying these when I do work on them. I've been kind of savoring them because I am, as I'll show you in a minute, also working on another project from this A Legacy colorway. And I just liked the idea of kind of working on them you know, hand in hand, and so I don't want to rush too quickly through this pair. As soon as I'm finished with Cameron's birthday socks, though, I am going to cast on another pair of vanilla socks, one that I can work on in front of him, and one that I can just pick up and knit whenever I have a moment, because I'm not sure over the coming weeks. It depends how fast we get packed and things. I don't know how much time I'm going to have, or how much, maybe brain power is the better way to put it, for more complicated patterns. Thankfully, these do not take a lot of thought. It's only a 2-row repeat, easily memorizable. And my other project, my sweater that I'm going to show you now, it's not difficult, but it's just bulkier because I'm working with 2 balls of yarn at once, and there's lots of needles and things coming off it. So it's not the best project to just kind of pull out any old time and work on. But I am happy to have had some time, just in the last day or so, to put some work into it. And that is, again, this terrible picture that I photocopied. This is the Sparkle sweater from Kirsten Michelle, and it's a top-down circular yoke colorwork yoke sweater, and I'm not doing the color placement in the same way as in this sweater, so it actually does look a fair bit different, but I am using the pattern for the actual sweater plus the charts, chevron charts as guidance. So the main body of the sweater, I don't have my labels here, it's from Cascade 220 Sport, the non-superwash. The colorway is called Jet, just looking at the color number 4002. And then at the same time I'm using a, I have that sitting here, this hand spun BFL mixed spinning set that I chain plied with varying degrees of success, and I'm using them for the color work. So I think when I showed it to you last, I had divided. Maybe I hadn't divided for the sleeves. I think actually I was still on the body, and I had a little nugget of the old yarn. When I say the old yarn, I had some of this 220 Sport in my stash left over from a different project, and then I had to order some so I would have enough to complete the sweater, and there is a difference in the dye lots, and so I am alternating skeins. I started out, before I split for the sleeves, I did it at the center back. You can maybe see a line right there where I changed yarns, but as soon as I split, I started doing helical knitting, and it's a much smoother transition. So yeah, I think I was just finishing up that part of the body, and once that little nugget was done, I was going to finish it off and then break the yarn. And then I wound up some more yarn of the old color and picked up for the sleeves, and am alternating skeins just down the what do you call it, underarm seam, or seam, and that's working fine. So I have the body on my cable from my Chagu red lace needles, and then actually added in an extra length. I think I had the 22-inch cord, and I added on, it must have been bigger than that. Anyway, I added on another length of it yesterday, and just left it so I can try it on as I go. And so I do plan to do the sleeves first, and I do plan to do this striped sequence. I didn't even show it to you very well. Yes, it's bumpy and lumpy and crinkly, and I know some of it will block out, some of it won't, and that's okay. I don't mind the texture, and it's just really a thrill to be using my hand spun in a sweater. So yeah, I'm going to do the same stripy chevron sequence on the sleeves as in the original, but my cuffs will be the same as the color I'm using for the body, so it'll look a little different. It's actually amazing how different it looks just switching up the way the colors are done on this yoke. But I really like the pattern. It's well written, very well written. I really like the fit of it. I'm more or less just following directions. I'm altering the sleeve decreases slightly. My size had you doing 5 inches of the sleeve before you started decreasing, compared to some smaller amounts on other sizes. So I decided I was going to do 3.5 inches, and then I just spaced out the decreases for the sleeve a little bit differently, just by a row each time, and that just spreads the decreases out to a more gradual decline rather than go straight, decline, straight again for the color work. I just thought it might give it, the sleeve, maybe a puffy nature, which I really don't want. So yeah, so that's coming along very nicely. Look how pretty it is. Lord knows how long this is going to take. You can tell it's really dark yarn, so I've got to have good light when I work on it. And right now I'm enthused because I've picked it up again after a while, but I have a feeling that this stocking stitch in dark yarn could potentially become rather monotonous after a while. On the sleeves, I do have the color work to look forward to, so I think that will propel me through that section, but I can see the sleeve or the body kind of becoming a slog at some point. But maybe I'll just be so motivated to wear it. Mind you, by the time it's done, it's probably going to be too warm to wear this year. Or this season, which often seems to happen to me when it comes to sweaters. I'm all gung-ho, but rarely do I finish them in the season for which they are intended. Like I said, even this today is rather warm, especially in the house. I mean, we keep our house not really warm, but obviously warmer than outside. So it's and we live in a fairly mild climate, so it's not even that we get to wear sweaters lots and lots. I have found this this year I have worn cardigans more often, a couple of them in particular, and I've been really happy to be getting the use out of them, because as much as I love to knit sweaters, I don't always wear them, which is a shame. I have visions of me wearing them, and then I end up putting on my store-bought hoodies or long sleeve, t-shirts and things instead. So, oh well. I will have to get some FO pictures up on my project page for this, and then I can post it in the Fiber Knit Dye Works. Oh, I've got to remember, Choose Your Own Adventure Make-Along. That's happening this year. This is one of the projects that I had planned out for myself to finish during the Make-Along. So I'll be doing that. It's a really quite a casual, as the name suggests, you can, it's a make-along where you can kind of decide for yourself what goals you want to accomplish, what things you'd like to do, and it's mostly about the camaraderie. But you can, post your pictures of your projects along the way, and then there is a Fiber Knit Dye Works yarn or fiber component this year, in which if you use a certain amount of product, you can earn a free skein, or I think braid of fiber at the end of the year. So I am attempting to do that. So my a legacy pullover and socks are both also going to count for something in that make-along. So if you're interested, you can check out fibernymphdyeworks.com. There's a blog there, I think, that describes it. I know there's a link somewhere on the website for it, and also on Ravelry. You can see it in the Fiber Nymph Dye Works group on Ravelry. And speaking of make-alongs, there's also a super cash stash spectacular make-along happening in the I Stitch in Time podcast Ravelry group too. It's just a year-long chatter thread where you can show off things that you are making from your yarn, pattern, and fiber stash. So come on by, love to see you there. I am hoping to get, been a little bit behind. I've been not just busy, but just not even really feeling like interacting very much this week. So now that things have kind of turned around, I'm feeling a lot better about things. I'm looking forward to getting back in the game, as it were. All right, I think that's all the yarny stuff. So other than all the house, condo, townhouse trials and tribulations, we haven't done a whole lot. Although on Saturday we did get together with our family, all but our older granddaughter. A bunch of us met up at our younger son's place and his girlfriend. So some of the guys went disc golfing, and then some of us ladies stayed behind, and my daughter-in-law and I were knitting and chatting with my son's girlfriend, and then the rest of the family came later, and then we all went out to a nearby brew pub and had supper together. So it was quite busy there, and they do have an outdoor space, so we were all bundled up sitting outside, but it was, yeah, just great to all be together. And then this upcoming weekend, I am taking part in a bonspiel, and I'm going to be crewing with my oldest sister, and then my sister who's the next oldest after me. We're the three in the family that curl, or the three women in the family that curl, and we will be just taking part in this fun bonspiel. I think it's 3 games Saturday, guaranteed 1 game Sunday. I think the most you play on Sunday is 2. So, no real, nothing really at stake. It's just to go and have a good time. It's a charity kind of bonspiel. I think there's more serious stuff happening in another aspect of it, but the part we're participating in is just sheerly for fun. So I expect we'll have a good time. Looking forward to it. It'll be a good distraction from everything that's been happening. I wrote down in my show notes something good, and then I neglected to fill anything in. I think when it comes down to it, I just guess the something good is that we, if all goes well, we've less that could go sideways this time. By this time next week, we should have sold our house and bought our new place. And we're starting now, we're feeling confident enough now to have begun packing up this one. It was quite funny because we came home last night from the realtors, and immediately my husband went and started unpacking packing, I should say, half of the contents of his dresser. So he's got some boxes of clothes already piled up. I've packed up, looking over here, because that's where they were in my shelves. I've packed up all of my craft books, and I took a bunch in with me on Saturday and let my daughter-in-law and daughter have first dibs on them, and then my daughter suggested that I donate the rest to the Spinners and Weavers Guild, which didn't even occur to me. So that's what I'm going to do, and they can either add them to their library or use them for silent auction, or I think it's silent auction items, or maybe door prizes. Like, I don't really care. I just want them out of my house. But hopefully someone will get some use out of them. So yeah, something good is things seem almost for sure to have come together, and in a month's time we will have a new address. So until then, I keep saying the last few weeks I've talked to you, it's like, I don't know when I'm going to record next. I suspect strongly that the next time will be once we are in our new place. But you never know. If we get everything packed up, and if I get some things done and enough to make it worthwhile recording, then I'll come back and share them with you. But chances are this is going to be the last time you see this backdrop here in this house. I'm going to take this unit with me, but I am intending, once we change the flooring in what will become the craft room, I'm gonna probably get a new shelving set up, and a sewing table and things like that. Really excited about it, actually, to have a new space, and it's bigger, so I'll have enough room to actually, do things in it. I mostly just sew in this room if I use it, and the rest is for storage, but I should have room in the new place to be able to set up my loom there and have it accessible, bring my spinning wheel in, maybe have a comfy chair there. Yeah, it's lots to look forward to. So I still need those fingers and toes crossed, please, but I'm feeling much more optimistic that everything will now fall into place. So thank you as always for watching. Welcome if you are new. Thank you for checking out the podcast. Take care. I'll see you as soon as it works. Take care until then. Thanks, everyone. Bye.